Hello there, RosterWatch Nation. It's your friendly neighborhood trash man, back for another Best Ball Mania 3 draft. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I'll wait a minute or two. Well, actually, I'm just going to go ahead and enter this draft. Chances are, if you come in later, this draft won't be full. Yeah, so we're still waiting for 6 people. So feel free to join in. While we're waiting, I'm going to go ahead and at the latest incarnation of our magical, mystical best ball cheat sheet. So like I said, if you're just joining, feel free to get into this draft with me. Still waiting on 4 people. You could be one of them. So I'm just going to get the latest best ball cheat sheet. That'll be our version 4.5. It's what we'll be working with. So curious to see if maybe in this draft anything has been shifted, to see if anything's been shifted on the heels of that Baker Mayfield signing to the Panthers. Maybe McCaffrey gets a boost. Maybe he's back to the number 1 status. We'll see if that is even the hint of a trend based off of this draft. Okay, so it's starting in a minute. I'm picking number 1. So based off of the cheat sheet, that'll be Jonathan Taylor. That was before. I mean, I have to imagine this was before the Baker Mayfield news. I don't know. I think I still probably go JT. It's kind of hard not to. And there you have it. Went with Jonathan Taylor for my first pick. McCaffrey went second. This could probably have been expected. Then Justin Jefferson, Cooper Kupp 2.0, and then Cooper Kupp. Jamar Chase. We got Ghostface Killer in this draft. I didn't think he would have the time. Austin Eckler is gone. And so now with this Baker Mayfield news, it might be shrewd to angle in on one of these Carolina stacks, just because I think it could be pretty easy to get a Carolina stack going later. I mean, you could involve maybe even like a Terrace Marshall in that stack. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Still 15 picks away. That's the thing about picking first, is it's a lot of time in between. So far we have Jonathan Taylor had the number 1 pick in this draft, and Christian McCaffrey went second. I guess I could have taken him with my first pick based off of what just happened with Baker Mayfield being moved over to Carolina. But I'm happy with JT all the same. So it's an interesting move. I mean, I guess you could say it's an improvement on Sam Darnold having Baker Mayfield in Carolina. He tends to focus, I think, more on some of these underneath receivers, which DJ Moore is actually, kind of capable of doing. He's a versatile receiver. He can catch underneath passes. He can be that, that utility knife player. So I feel like DJ Moore gets a slight boost. Christian McCaffrey gets a slight boost. Terrace gets a slight boost. I mean, Robbie Anderson. I don't know if Robbie Anderson gets a boost. I feel like Baker Mayfield isn't that quarterback to implement a deep threat, who's kind of a situational deep threat at that. So I don't know if it moves the needle for Robbie Anderson for me. Let me know if you disagree. Or how do you feel about the Baker Mayfield acquisition? What do you think it changes for the Panthers? What do you think it changes for the Browns now knowing that they don't have Mayfield to fall back on? So 5 more picks. Based off of who we have here in the cheat sheet, I think Saquon Barkley would be the pick, or A.J. Brown, actually. We'll see if either or both fall to me. No Saquon. No Mark Andrews. So let's see here. According to the cheat sheet, draft A.J. Brown. And then T. Higgins. I mean, I'm not crazy about it. But that's what the cheat sheet says to do, so I'll cede to it this time. I don't know why I'm not crazy on T. Higgins. I think just because he's, arguably the second best receiver on his team. He'd be the best receiver on a lot of other teams, but he's the second best receiver in Cincinnati. and the second best receiver on this squad so far. So we have Jonathan Taylor, A.J. Brown, and T. Higgins. So maybe we can start thinking about some stacks that we can put together. A.J. Brown, I mean, a Philadelphia stack isn't terribly enticing to me just because I don't know that they're going to throw the ball a whole lot. Cincinnati seems a lot more enticing to me. I could make a stack with Joe Burrow, T. Higgins. I could even maybe throw in Chris Evans as a running back later. That really seems like the move I would be best served by making if I wanted to go with the Cincinnati stack. And again, we make these stacks in these kind of large field tournaments because that tends to err in our favor in these huge tournaments where you have thousands and thousands of entrants. And so I've been trying to angle for, kind of maybe lesser known stacks or lesser used stacks. Although I don't know, I've done several of these drafts and I feel like I've gotten the Cowboys as a stack several times, just the way that the draft has fallen. I could also go Indianapolis with Jonathan Taylor. I could get Matt Ryan and a Paris Campbell stack going later, which I really like, just because I really like Paris Campbell. I think if he stays healthy this year, he's going to do a lot of damage, especially in PPR formats. A.J. Brown, I mean, he has all the talent in the world. He's my first receiver, but, I don't know, with another really marquee receiver on his, opposite him, and a quarterback who isn't the most efficient in getting the ball to multiple receivers, at least, that we've seen. And then T. Higgins for Cincinnati, who, again, as I've reiterated, is the second best receiver on his team. So we got 9 picks away. I suppose I should maybe be looking at another running back here. 8 picks away. Maybe that puts us in the realm of a Breece Hall or Cam Akers, either one of whom I would be happy to take there. Receivers that you could get around the same time. There's DJ Moore, who I think I wouldn't mind having, especially with the Baker Mayfield move. Allen Robinson. You know what? Oh, Cam Akers just went. I was thinking I could maybe do a Cam Akers, Allen Robinson turn. That's not going to happen. Maybe Ezekiel Elliott will fall. I know a lot of people have not been too keen on adding him to their rosters. And in these best ball tourneys, these large field best ball tourneys, that's what we're kind of looking for, these players who have all the upside in the world, but, people may not want to gamble on. So you want to have, a nice combination of your sure things, I guess, so to speak, and your wild cards who could end up, turning the tide for you in one of these large field tournaments. So a couple picks before me. If Ezekiel Elliott's there, I have to take him. We'll see if that happens, though. If not, oh, there he went. Let's see what the cheat sheet says. Would be Deontay Johnson for sure. And then, you know what? I'm going to bet on Allen Robinson here. Actually, I'm not. I'm going to take a running back. That's what I feel like I need to do. No, wait. I'm doing Allen Robinson. I didn't feel great about the receivers that I'd gotten my first 2 picks, even though, I mean, that's what the cheat sheet said. I just didn't feel that solid on them. So I added another. And so actually I have Jerry Jeudy and Allen Robinson as my receivers behind T. Higgins and A.J. Brown. So a lot of depth there. And so I just didn't really like the running backs that I could get there. I just don't think I'm getting value there. And so I think waiting another round, I'll be able to get some backs that I think would pay dividends in the long run. And so I suppose maybe I'll start to build a stack based off of one of these receivers. We'll kind of see what quarterbacks, running backs might be available in my next pick. A Denver stack would be nice. I haven't done one of those yet. Also, a Rams stack, if I could maybe get Darrell Henderson, a little bit later. I think that might be pretty good too. So I'm going to look at quarterbacks here. Get away from the receivers for a second. So Jalen Hurts is there. Maybe he won't be there. I mean, if Joe Burrow is there by the time I pick again, I think I might make a Cincinnati stack. But if not, I might end up going for a Matthew Stafford stack, which I think might be just as good. So Hurt just went. Dobbins just went. Juju and Josh Jacobs. It's always the later part of these drafts that I enjoy the most. I mean, you could say that for really any trash man, anyone who's a trash man acolyte. It's important, too, to look at these bye weeks of these players to make sure you don't have too many players with the same bye week. You want to make certain that your quarterbacks, because chances are you're going to have a minimum 2, that they don't have the same bye weeks. So 5 more picks away. I'll probably take a running back here. I could take Antonio Gibson, because then I could cultivate a Washington stack later, and that would be easy to do. Or Elijah Mitchell, and get a Trey Lance stack, which I think I might do. I've yet to make a San Fran stack. Okay, and there you have it. Trey Lance, Elijah Mitchell. We'll see if Brandon Ayuk is around by the time I pick again. I think he might be. There's a chance. I'm saying there's a chance. Michael Thomas just went. And just because Trey Lance is kind of an unknown commodity at the quarterback position, maybe I look to get a second quarterback pretty quickly. So I feel like maybe if Matthew Stafford is around on this next swing, I could go with him. We have D-Hop, Drake London, Adam Thielen, Antonio Gibson just going. I haven't really looked at tight ends at all just yet. So maybe I'll consider one. See Irv Smith there. I could potentially go with a Kirk Cousins, Irv Smith, maybe KJ Osborne stack. I guarantee that's one that's not being used often. Tom Brady's still there. If Tom Brady's still around, maybe that might be interesting. Tom Brady, maybe Cade Otton, Cameron Brate, and yeah, and a Gage, a Russell Gage stack. not very sexy, but it could end up paying off. Well, I can't do that anyway. Brady just got taken. Let me see if Darrell Henderson is still around. He must be. Yeah, he'll be around for a while. So I can maybe get a Matthew Stafford, have that Matthew Stafford, Allen Robinson, Darrell Henderson stack going later. Could be good. It's 9 picks away from me. If Matthew Stafford were to get taken, perhaps I go for Cordero Patterson there. Just because an Atlanta stack would be easy to cultivate in the later rounds of this draft. Rashad Penny's still down there. Kenneth Walker being taken ahead of Rashad Penny right now. So I might just start queuing up some of these players who I'm like, well, wait, I think I'll just wait till I get this next pick. Oh, Matthew Stafford just went, so no Rams stack. So do I go with Brandon Ayuk there? Well, we'll see if he falls. If Ayuk falls, I think maybe I take him just to have that San Francisco stack. Let's see. And this guy has 3 wide receivers. I'm guessing he's probably going to take a quarterback or a tight end. Oh, no. So Christian Kirk. Let's see here. This guy has 4 wide receivers. He's not taking. Okay, yeah. So I'm going to take Brandon Ayuk here. So I have that San Francisco stack with Lance, Mitchell, and Ayuk. Then I'm going to take do I dare take TJ Hawkinson? Yeah, I do. Yeah. The best pass catcher, the most active pass catcher on that team outside of Swift. And I think you're getting pretty good value if TJ Hawkinson is your 9th pick. So far on this team, we have Trey Lance at quarterback, Jonathan Taylor, Elijah Mitchell to build that San Francisco stack, and A.J. Brown, T. Higgins, Jerry Jeudy, Allen Robinson, Brandon Ayuk to round out that San Francisco stack, and then T.J. Hawkinson at tight end. It's been interesting. I haven't had a draft quite like this so far, but then again, I haven't drafted out of the 1 spot yet that I can recall. So this draft so far for me has been pretty wide receiver heavy, which is always fine by me. So what I'm going to think about here is adding depth at running back, but in addition to that, maybe cultivating another stack So I'm looking at my running backs who might be available come this next pick. I mean, I still have 16 picks to go, so it might be someone like a Dameon Pierce, who I left to add next, which actually is pretty nice just because it'll be pretty easy to build a Houston stack just because you can get so many of those players late in drafts. So that could be a stack worth building on. Nyheim Hines you can also get later here. I think maybe a Matt Ryan, Nyheim Hines, Paris Campbell stack is pretty well within the realm of possibilities here, and it's one that I'd like just because I don't think that a lot of people will be on it. So 14 more picks. So I think I'm just going to I have quite a bit of time to go, so I'm going to cue some of these players who I like. Let me see. Christian Watson's there. Is Aaron Rodgers still around? He is. We'll see if he lasts. If Aaron Rodgers, oh no, there he just went. I was going to say I could maybe cultivate a Packers stack. That's not going to happen. Dameon Pierce, I think I will be able to get in this next pick. And so then I could cultivate a stack with him, Davis Mills, and maybe a Nico Collins. And I like that just because I think it'll be easy to get. And not a lot of people will follow suit. So 8 picks before I go again. I'll throw James Cook in here too. Chase Edmonds there. I mean, it's really hard for me to get invested in a Miami stack of any sort just because this backfield, it just seems so convoluted. But Chase Edmonds is the guy that they paid the most money to come in. And I think people are just wary of the backfield, so it's one more reason to maybe target it in one of these large field contests. Okay, so 5 picks. 3 of the runners that I had queued up are still available. And there, Cordell Patterson just went. Oh, there, Ramondre Stevenson just went. So we'll see. Will Dameon Pierce get taken? No. So then I will take him there. And then I will take. You know what? I'm going to take Ronald Jones here. I need another running back. And I think Ronald Jones might actually end up getting the most run out of any of those KC running backs. I think he's their best bet for a first 2 down back. He's been very efficient with the touches that he has gotten over the last several years. And because I went so wide receiver heavy earlier, I think it was good to maybe get some running back value where I could. So I'm going to be looking for more running back depth, just a little bit more. So these are some guys that I like later: Isaiah Spiller, Tyler Algier, Khalil Herbert, Gus Edwards, James Robinson for sure. I'm going to queue up Davis Mills just so I don't forget about him, because I wanted to build that Houston stack. And then we'll see. Maybe I get John Mechie as my receiver in that Houston stack. I like that. If Nico Collins doesn't fall. Always like to add Paris Campbell where I can. Sammy Watkins, I mean, he's just such a boomer bust option there for Green Bay. Somebody I want to take a look at. Okay, so the team I have right now: Trey Lance, Jonathan Taylor, Elijah Mitchell, Damian Pierce, Ronald Jones at running back, and A.J. Brown, T. Higgins, Jerry Jeudy, Allen Robinson, Brandon Ayuk at receiver, and then T.J. Hawkinson at tight end. My receivers are deep and they're good. Say the same for the running backs. I mean, we don't really know what Pierce is going to do, but based all indications point to Pierce being a really dynamic back for Houston. I really liked him at the Senior Bowl. I mean, he was a guy who came in without that many carries out of Florida and really just kind of stood out from the pack there at the Senior Bowl. So 10 more picks to go. We've cultivated a San Francisco stack with Trey Lance, Elijah Mitchell, Brandon Ayuk. And so I want to cultivate another stack somewhere else. Options are Houston, or I think Matt Ryan's still there, so I could get a Houston, Indianapolis stack. I mean, in the Indianapolis stack will probably, it seems like the better stack to build, but the Houston one, I don't know. I think just because it is such a large field in this contest, it might be interesting to put together a Houston stack. And if it does pop, then that could get you far. We just have so many unknowns on that Houston offense, and that could play to our advantage or our disadvantage. I mean, we just take the gamble. But I've done a lot of these drafts so far, and I've not put together a Houston stack, so maybe it's one worth cultivating. I don't know if I have to cultivate it just yet, though. 7 picks. I could probably get another one of these runners that I like. Before that, see if there are any tight ends that I like. I mean, Albert O, someone I like at the tight end position. I mean, I feel like if I want one of these tight ends, better tight ends, I have to go for it now. So I think maybe to take a tight end, one of these running backs, and then I cultivate that Houston stack. I think that's probably a pretty decent move. Okay. We're going to take Mike Gesicki here. And then do I take Spiller or Algier or Herbert? I mean, I think maybe Algier becomes the guy for Atlanta, but I don't know. I think Spiller is just such a dynamic back. If you just watch him on tape, I just love him for whatever reason. Had a bad combine. I think he did that. I mean, pro day. I think he was injured during it. I saw him. I was actually at that pro day. Saw him favoring one of his legs. I don't know. You just watch the tape and you see the opportunity there next to Austin Eckler. For LA, I like Spiller. I got 5 more picks in this draft. Okay. So of these guys I have queued, we'll see who falls. Ideally, we want to get this Davis Mills and either John Mechie or Nico Collins. But I would take a Matt Ryan. Paris Campbell. Stack. So yeah, stacks to be made. Really seems like the Houston one or the Indianapolis one is what I'm looking at here. So that's what I'll be focusing on. So far on the team, we have Trey Lance at quarterback, Jonathan Taylor, Elijah Mitchell, Damian Pierce, Ronald Jones, Isaiah Spiller, wide receiver A.J. Brown, T. Higgins, Jerry Jeudy, Allen Robinson, Brandon Ayuk, then tight ends T.J. Hawkinson and Mike Gesicki. So we have a San Francisco stack, and now we want to cultivate either an Indianapolis or Houston stack, I think. A Washington stack is always a possibility if you want it. I mean, you get J.D. McKissick and Brian Robinson really late, and Carson Wentz. So 11 picks away, and my queued players are starting to dwindle. DJ Shark just going in this draft, which, sound crazy 2 years ago, even a year ago, going after the likes of Jalen Tolbert. So 9 picks away. And I still have possibilities with my Indianapolis and Houston stacks. So we'll see what happens here. Oh, Matt Ryan just went. I had 2 quarterbacks already. Well, looks like it's going to have to be a Houston stack or a Washington stack I could potentially go for. Is this guy going to pick? Or he's just going to then automatic. Maybe that means he's just auto drafting. So Carson Wentz just went. So Washington stack is out the window. All right, let's just hope Davis Mills lasts until my next pick. I think he will. But we shall see. So then I guess the question would be Davis Mills and John Mechie or Davis Mills and Nico Collins. I mean, I think Mechie is the better prospect. And I think that's maybe who we go for. Just because I think it'll be, I think he'll be drafted less than Nico Collins. Yeah, so this is a stack I don't think a lot of people are going to have. A Davis Mills, Dameon Pierce, John Mechie stack. So if that happens to hit, could do great things for this team that I'm drafting. Okay, let's see how many picks I have left. I think I have 3 picks left. So now I'm just going to look at some players, maybe queue up some players who I like. Brian Robinson. Jonte Foreman, when was the last time Christian McCaffrey finished the season? Or played a complete season, rather. So looking at some more of these players, kind of keeping in mind, too, if I can add to any of these stacks. Wan'Dale Robinson, I like. Will Fuller, somebody's going to take him, right? David Bell, I would like if there was a different quarterback situation. AJ Green, I like, especially for the first 6 games of the season. Devin Duvernay, chances are he'll be the second wide receiver in Baltimore, but, on any other team that might make a difference, but doesn't really have carry a lot of weight on Baltimore. Odell Beckham, somebody's going to take him. He's somebody to keep in mind. James Washington, Dallas. Brevin Jordan, I could maybe add to that Houston stack. Brevin Jordan at tight end. Three picks, I could maybe go Marcus Mariota, Bryan Edwards. And Damian Williams. Nobody'd see that stack coming. Love Byron Pringle as a player. Cade Otton, chances are, it's his first season, that he's not going to do too much, but you never know. Bayless Jones, Chicago claims they're going to use him all over the field. Other guys I like. Sterling Shepard, when he's healthy, when he's on the field, he tends to lead the Giants in targets. It's not a sexy pick, but he could pay off in a best ball league. Same with Tyler Batty. He is literally the healthiest Baltimore back right now. And Desmond Ridder. I could go Ridder, Bryan Edwards. Jacoby Brissett. Make a Cleveland stack out of nowhere. Probably not, though. Okay, I'm really starting to dig deep here. Chris Carson, if you were really in a gambling mood, you could add Chris Carson to this mix. And if he does happen to play this season and does happen to be anything like the Chris Carson of old, that could put you over the top. Okay, I'm digging a little deep now. So 6 picks away. Take a look at some of these guys that have queued up. Who I like. And AJ Green is attracted to me here just because, he could be the number one receiver for the Cardinals for the first 6 weeks. Hollywood Brown is definitely going to challenge him for that, but he's in that mix. So maybe I go. Well, Nico Collins just went, so I'm not going to add him to that Houston stack. So my picks are here. I'm going to take Odell Beckham just because I think that could end up paying off for you. For me, ultimately. And then I'm going to take another running back. And it's going to be Robinson or Batty. I'm going to go with Robinson. Robinson, I think, has a good chance to be the goal line back for Washington. And Antonio Gibson, I mean, he played injured most of the last season. Who's to say that they'll depend on him entirely this season? I feel like they're going to use Robinson quite a bit to spell him, to keep him as healthy as they can. So then I think I have one more pick left. Maybe I make it Brevin Jordan, just to really go in on that Houston stack. Let me see if there are any of these other guys I like who I think could really make a difference, could really have some upside this season. I mean, Wan'Dale Robinson is the most apparent guy to me of this crew to really have an impact this season in fantasy. One of my favorite receivers coming out of the draft this year. I mean, he's the possibility. Then maybe, I mean, Velus Jones too. I think it's going to get used more often than we might expect. And Tyler Batty, kind of the dark horse in that Ravens backfield. Let me just look at bye weeks here and make sure I haven't swindled myself too much anywhere. Okay, so we have a couple of running backs with a week 8 bye. Some more receivers have a 7 and 9 bye. So Wan'Dale has a week 9 bye. We already have 2 players of week 9 bye, so I don't think it would be shrewd to add him. So get him out of there. Same with James Washington. So I'm thinking either running back or receiver. I think it's probably going to be a running back. Just because Taylor and Robinson have a week 14 bye, Spiller, Jones have a week 8 bye. Well, I guess it could be a receiver. Just looking at our options here. So Tyler Batty, week 10 bye. I don't think we have another player with a week 10 bye or in a running back group. So that's a possibility. Or did we take a third quarterback? Just in case Mills stinks or Lance stinks. I think maybe that might be the move. And so then when I take Ritter or Mariota, we'll see here. Because I guess there is a chance that Trey Lance doesn't end up being the quarterback all season for whatever reason, or he flounders. Davis Mills, I mean, I guess you can say the same thing. So who's the best bet at quarterback that's left? I mean, I'll probably argue Mariota or Ritter. There's been a lot of scuttlebutt that Ritter, would challenge Mariota for the starting quarterback position, but I think kind of walk that back a little bit. Mariota expected to open the season as starter. Mitchell Trubisky, I guess, too, be an option. Kenny Pickett, is running third quarterback right now. I guess you ask them, who do you like more, Mitchell Trubisky or Marcus Mariota? I mean, Mariota does more with his feet. Oh, and it's not going to be Trubisky because he's a week 9 bye. It's got to be a guy who doesn't have a week 9 or 6 bye. And so I feel like if Mariota just went. So maybe I take Desmond Ridder and hope that he wins out the quarterback contest in Atlanta. I think I like that idea. I mean, I feel better about taking a chance on him than maybe one of these other receivers maybe popping off. And I just am not sold on Trey Lance or Davis Mills yet. So, yeah, I'll take Ridder there. Why not? And there you have it. Another successful draft using the cheat sheet to start out and kind of deviating. You kind of have to in these best ball drafts. But I liked my draft. A couple of really unexpected stacks in Houston and San Francisco. It's a combination that I wouldn't have expected. I don't think a lot of people would expect it. So maybe that's one that'll actually pan out. It's those unexpected stacks and players and combinations in these, large field contests that end up winning. So there you have it. Hope you enjoyed the ride. Hopefully you drafted with me, and kind of listened to what I was saying and took some of these players before I had a chance to. A win for RosterWatch Nation is a win for all of us. And anyways, there you have it. This is the Trashman on behalf of RosterWatch.com. Until next time, do some more drafts on UnderdogFantasy.com. It's a lot of fun. And you can do one of these slower drafts if you want to. That could last several days. But it's not quite the breakneck 30-second speed of these drafts. Anyway, there you have it. This has been the Trashman. Until next time, be ready.